podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews from some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with the focus on the EFC and UFC promotions. I'm your host, Yao. Join us as we delve deep into the techniques, strategies, and mindsets of these world-class athletes, learning from their experiences and getting insights into what it takes to succeed in the toughest sport on earth. Welcome to the Kick Him in the Head podcast. And as always, I have an absolutely jam-packed MMA episode for you. And tonight we are talking EFC 117. EFC 117 happening this coming Thursday at the EFC World Sport Betting Arena here in Johannesburg. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolutely amazing fight night. And tonight, to help me comb through all the fights, the changes, the fights that we're looking forward to, the odds you should be betting on, is the one and only my brother from the Fight Week Show, Ola. Ola, as always, welcome to Kick Him in the Head. How you doing tonight?
We here, my bro. We here, my brother. Thank you very much for inviting me once again to talk EFC 117. You know very much how much the EFC roster is close to my heart. You know what I mean? Despite all the other promotions out there, but the EFC as a promotion is one that we hold very, very dearly to our hearts over here in the UK, over here on the Fight Week Show. And we always love pulling up on Kick Him in the Head, showing them love. Thank you very much for the invite again, my brother.
That's right. And I think let's get straight into, we have EFC 117 coming up, and this fight night, you know, and I need to find something else to say because I literally say this before each EFC event, is this card is absolutely stacked. And it's not possible to consistently have a stacked card. So I must be lying if I'm always saying it, but this card,
bro, you know what? I'm not even gonna say you're lying there, because all the cards of recent, all the cards is been. I mean, are we talking about the Balelo one? Are we talking about the Luke Marco one? Are we talking about the Eagle Smiley one? Are we talking about Gift Walker one? Like, bro, all the cards have been delivering, bro. And each time they bring us another banger after banger. So, bro, I think they've been consistent. Big up to EFC Graham. They've been consistent in putting all these fights together and bringing us a banger card now. So you are right. The card is stacked, in my opinion, brother.
EFC Graham and the one and only Ashley Calvert. I think since he joined the team, he's given it a new dynamic. And since then, all these events have been absolutely amazing. Now let's get into EFC 117. We have the main card and the prelim card. Prelims start at 3 p.m. Johannesburg Central African time. Main card is at 7 p.m. You can catch it on World Sport Betting. It's on EFCworldwide.com, and we also have it on Supersport, the main card. Now, the card that we see here, and we learned this, I think, from the last event, is great, but this is not the actual card that's going to be fought this coming fight night, because there's been quite a few changes, which I think we'll go into when we're looking at the odds at the end of the show. But to start off, we are going to be looking at the two fights that we're both looking forward to, the main event and the co-main, starting with the main event. Vince, as I like to call him, the bad man Bembe versus Faeez, the troublemaker Jacobs. Ola, I know you're really looking forward to this fight. You know what? Let me just hear from you how you're feeling about this fight, and then let's just talk about it. How are you feeling about this fight?
This is one that I really have been looking forward to. I mean, we on one hand we have Vince Bembe here with a fantastic record. You know, when you look at his professional record, he's very, very accomplished in some of the bouts that he's been in. And I'm looking at his recent fight here. You know what I mean? You got a win against our boy Adrian Sanchez, who we know is not easy to put away. It's not easy to just deal with like that. He got a win against Demba Sak as well. Dembasek, shall I say, not Dembasak. Pardon me. That came to split decision, but they left everything in the octagon. But we also know about Faeez. Faeez is somebody that that we know. He's been around some of the best fighters. Cornered Luke Williams in that last title fight, and we saw the passion. We saw the stare down between these two when squared both of them together in the X after the fight concluded. So this is one that I'm really really looking forward to. These two guys, they bring a lot of I mean, beating somebody like Sylvester Chifumbu, for example, is a fight that you highly rate. I've heard you
By
speak about him
KO.
so many
By
times.
KO.
And exactly right in the first round, Eduardo Barros as well. So Faeez is been through some quality fighters, so has Vince Bembe, and that's what makes this fight so exciting. That's what makes this fight um I want to say tantalizing, because for me, this is the bout to keep your eyes on. And if you look at these two guys, they finished their last fight in the first round. I don't think this one's going to distance. We've seen a lot of the interviews that Faeez has been out talking about. We know Vince Bembe is very, very accomplished in his skill set, but we've seen Faeez saying he is not leaving without a finish. We've seen his interviews, but now we know this brother means business. We know Vince means business, which means for the fans,
It's gonna be
we
that
are going to be well and
business.
truly satisfied. I'm absolutely.
So looking at Faeez here, he comes in on the current win streak of 2 fights against Eduardo Barros. And as you mentioned, of course, he recently beat Sylvester Shifumbu, getting his O back, of which he had lost to Shifumbu at EFC 85 in 2021. He is trying to come back for the title. He was the previous title holder of the EFC Bantamweight title. So to have him coming back, having fought at Brave, fought overseas, to come back to try and take this title back, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing Faeez back in the hex. Now, I'm not sure if you know this, but Faeez and I did a gut check. So if he wins, hey guys, I did a gut check against the Bantamweight champion. But let's get it, let's go. Moving.
Oh,
Yeah, I pulled that one out the bag. You heard me. It was for a reason.
no, that's a
It
big
was
one.
for a
That's a big one.
reason.
That's a big one. Yeah, it was. That's extra motivation right there. Extra motivations.
But let's go into his opponent, Vince Bembe. I absolutely love Vince Bembe. He is an electric fighter. Out of the hex, he's a very chilled, very calm guy, always relaxed, but you can see the skill is there. He's always there with his partner, who is always screaming her lungs out when he fights. It is the most electrifying thing to hear him fighting because she's there. But the one thing about him in this fight is the fact that he is not a natural bantamweight. If you check him on Tapology, shout out Tapology for the stats, he's actually listed as a lightweight, of which he's previously fought against the current featherweight GOAT, the GOAT, my GOAT, Igor Smiley Cabeza, in which unfortunately he was not successful in that title shot, but that's where he was last fighting for title. So to see him here fighting at bantamweight for the bantamweight title,
No one ever
very,
is.
very interesting. No one ever is.
Yeah.
Ready for the GOAT. But he's fighting out of Secunda. Now, we don't have many fighters fighting out of Secunda. So to have Vince coming down to fight from Secunda, possibly taking the title back to Mpumalanga, one of the, let's call it fringe MMA provinces here in South Africa, would be amazing for him. And I think I'm really looking forward to seeing him on his current win streak of 1 fight against our man Rayo. But the other interesting thing is the people that he's lost to. He's lost in UAE Warriors. So as much as we see a record of 3 losses there, he's lost to Marwan Balago in UAE Warriors. He's lost to the GOAT, Igor Smiley Cabeza. And then he lost in his 3rd fight to Bradley Swanepoel. So those are the only three fights that he's lost. He's beaten Ashley Calvert, he's beaten Suzanne Nakati, he's beaten Dembasek. As we mentioned, he's beaten Adrian Sanchez. So he's been through the mill. He's been fighting. He knows what to do when you get to this level. So I'm looking really forward to seeing what he can do fighting for another title at a weight class that might not be his. We'll see how the weight cut really impacts him, if it does impact him, or whether he can come up with that power that he came out with when he knocked out Rayo in the last fight. Now,
Yes.
to get to
For
the
me,
next, oh yeah, sorry, go for it, Ola.
no, I was just gonna say for me, I just think this fight is the one to look at. If you can get past the weight cut scenario, if you can get past uh, 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 that hurdle and can retain the power, that definitely sets up the fight to be a great fight. And somebody's going to sleep. These two got knockout power, and somebody's going to sleep, bro. Yeah, night is gonna be night.
Yeah, 100%. It's KO versus KO in their last fight. So let's see how that one goes. Then the co-main event of the night is Vili, the White Lion Van Rooyen versus Gaugelo Mochela. Now, this is an interesting fight because if you look at the trajectory of Vili Viljoen's career, he has grown in leaps and bounds over the past, I think it's 8 months. I was there at his first fight. We actually interviewed him at his first fight to hear from him about how he felt about being a professional fighter, and he was commensurate. He's fighting out of Pretoria, and I think his team has, I think, about 6, 7 fighters in the EFC. But really looking forward to seeing him in this fight because going from a co-main event now, the only thing that's next for him is the title. After his last win, I know he wanted to go straight for the title, but they have put him up against who is a tough opponent in the form of Gaugelo. Now, Gaugelo is a staple in the EFC where, oh, well, I think let's talk a little bit more about Vili Van Rooyen. So he's currently on a 5-fight win streak, 1 from amateur, 4 professional. His O is intact, but and he's fighting out of 8 team stars from Pretoria. But as I was saying, he's going up against Gaugelo Mochela, who is 3-2, but he is a very skilled fighter fighting out of Mamelodi Warriors, both in Pretoria. So Pretoria Derby about to happen. How are you feeling about this fight?
I like this fight a lot. Mochela is definitely somebody we know. We've seen him in there with our boy uh, Black Panther, Terence Balelo, Triple B. For everybody that don't know who Triple is, Big Balls Balelo, and
Yes.
we've seen him in there with him. He didn't have a successful night. He did come back and got a win against Tehene, and that win that was a good win for him in form of a knockout. But then it's come back since then and lost to a triangle choke. So there's definitely something there to worry about with Mochela, but he's very capable fighter, and he can go in there at any time and cause real damage, and especially to Van Rooyen's but Van Rooyen, as you said earlier on, five wins in a row. Is 4-0 in EFC or in his professional record, and again, another accomplished fighter. But I think, based on what we've seen so far and the trajectory that I've seen so far, I'm leaning just that little bit more towards Van Rooyen than I am Mochela. But I know Mochela is very dangerous at any time. It can cause real damage in there. So this is one to definitely look forward to.
Yeah, this is definitely one to look forward to. If you don't know these fighters or if you don't know the EFC, you might not know how amazing this co-event is going to be. But we will get into it a little bit later about who we think is going to win it. But before we do that,
Fighter of the week.
Fighter of the week.
so Ola, who is your fighter of the week, or what is your fight of the night that you are looking forward to for EFC 117?
I mean, a lot of the fights on this card are tasty. Very good fights to look forward to, but I look no further than the main event itself. Faeez Jacobs, Vince Bembe, the talk that the interviews that we've seen and the media that we've seen Faeez do in the build up to this fight, fighting somebody like a Vince Bembe, it's one that I'm very very excited about. I'm not gonna lie, I'm leaning towards Faeez in this fight, and I'm praying that everything goes for him. We know Coach Hayden is flown over to Joburg, and he's gonna be cornering Faeez as well. Somebody that's really really good, and it's a good friend of the Fight Week show, including uh 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 Terrence Balelo, big Black Panther. I did the Insta live with him as well, and he said he could be joining Faeez on this journey and help corner him, help see him through this fight. So for those reasons, biased reasons you could call it, but I understand that it's not going to be easy for Faeez in there. But I'm going to be leaning towards Faeez in this fight. But this fight as a whole is going to be my fight of the night, because we also know Vince Bembe has a power to finish this fight with one shot. It could happen. We've seen it. So, what?
100%. Both fighters with knockout power. That's definitely a fight to watch for this EFC. My fight of the night, if you didn't hear it, for me, it's the man with the O in the co-main event, Billy the White Lion Van Rooyen versus Gaugel Motsela, simply because this fight would solidify Van Rooyen as not just the title contender, number one title contender, but also as one of the most skilled fighters right now in the EFC. If we've seen how he fights, not just the fact that he's got all these wins under his belt, but how he fights, how he wins his fight, the variety with which he wins his fight, this kid is going straight to the top. I've had the pleasure of chatting with him, not just in interviews, but also chatting with him candidly at the EFC events and his team. And each time he comes from fighting, he's just smiling and happy, and he's just in such an amazing mood. So for me, I think with how he approaches fights, how Gaugel approaches fights, I think this fight's definitely going to be one to watch on this night. Now we get to what I think is my more preferred parts of the show, where we get into the world sport betting odds of the night. Let's get it. Let us go, Ola. So these are the odds of the fights that are happening at EFC117, and there's quite a few fights happening, quite a few to watch out for. But I think I want to start as Ola on one fight between British Bowler Young and Christian Omokombio. Now, I point this fight out. Why? Because of the odds. Those odds there are ridiculous. Ridiculous. But if you look at the two fighters, we've got a 3-1 versus a 1-0, meaning that this fight could go any way. It could go either way. So to have ridiculously stacked odds in favor of British Bowler Young, who, mind you, is only, I think, one fight in the EFC, and the rest of his fights have been outside of the EFC, and Omokombio only has one fight in the EFC. I think that is definitely a fight to watch in terms of the odds, because it could very easily go Omokombio's way. So a small bet on Omokombio could net you a big amount on that fight. So for me, I think where it comes to odds, that's definitely one fight where the odds stick out for me in terms of who the fighters are, what their records are, and what the odds are saying. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this odds very very much. I'm against somebody like Kundari that's had so many professional fights. Yes, yes, and that was on his debut. To finish it, to get it done with the rear naked choke in that fight. I was really really impressed. I was so proud of him as well. And yeah, if you just for the reasons that you've just laid out, if you're a betting man, you needed to be back in. This is what you call the live dog. Right here, this is what you call the live dog. Right here, this is the live dog. You got to go for the live dog, because the live dog could get things done and bring you in big money if you go with the live dog. And right here, as we've seen Christian do, is going to get it done again. That's the live dog right there. That's who you should be putting your money on, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's definitely a fight if you are interested in the odds to watch. Like you said, live dog. It's always interesting to see what could possibly happen. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. The other fight I want to point out is the only women's fight on the card with IM Kekstra versus Rebecca Amongi. Now, we don't get the privilege of having too many fights in the EFC because there isn't that much depth in terms of female fighters. So it's always exciting when we have a female fight on the card. And in this instance, we have a fight between Kekstra, hope I got the pronunciation there right, versus Amongi. Amongi is fighting out of Uganda, a Ugandan fighter. We don't have many Ugandan fighters in the UFC. Her record is 1-2, so she's not necessarily the best, but who knows what she could do in the next fight. She's fighting for her first time in the EFC. She's previously fought against Julia Chuku and Brenda Masendi, who she beat, but this was out in Uganda. Now she's fighting against IM Kekstra. The IM standing for Imke Mariska Kekstra, who's 2-3, of which she has one fight in the EFC as well. So, well, not as well, one fight in the EFC and a cancelled fight against Crystal Van Dijk. Mind you, she is on a 3-fight winning streak, of which 2 of those fights she lost to one of the Slap Championships current, I'll say, stars, Christine Vulmerans. So interesting to see this female fight coming at the EFC117. How are you feeling about this woman's fight and the odds on that fight?
The odds are good. These are wildly crazy odds right here, and
I don't even know what to say about those odds, honestly.
Again, it's a toss of looking at the odds. Yeah, the odds are wild, bro. The odds are wild. But for the betting man, you definitely should be looking at Amongi. I think just to be on the safe side on this one, depending on what parlay you put together, I'll probably lean towards Amongi, but the odds are wild. That's all I got to say on this one, man. The odds are absolutely crazy.
To be honest with you, I think I barely know how to read those odds. That's how crazy you are. It's like what? So the next fight I want to point out is Zico Makangele. Ola, are you there? Can you hear me? Yes, you can. The next fight I want to point out is Zico Makangele, the Gorilla, versus Aaron Ogonyi.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking into that fight because I haven't seen Zico in the hex since he lost the title to Hume. What's Hume's name? First name again? Mark Hume, who was recently on The Ultimate Fighter in the US for the UFC. So it's good to see him back in the hex. He's now training out of Team CIT in Pretoria. So now he's obviously going to come with the grappling, the wrestling, and the ground game. And we know the power that Zico Makangele comes with. So having him come up now against Aaron Ogonyi is going to be a very interesting fight to see how he comes back. The odds are stacked heavily in his favor because he is a former welterweight champion of the EFC. So, well, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing how he comes back and if he comes back strong and dominant and manages to dominate against Ogonyi. How are you feeling about this fight?
Yeah, this one is another wild card, and this is why we said about this card being very, very tasteful. I mean, very, very tasty and unpredictable, and which is what makes it a banger. But when you look at the odds, again, I don't know. I think the odds should should probably be closer than they are because of the skill set. But
I'm not
I
sure
like
about
the
that one.
odds, and
Ola.
yeah, apologies. I don't know what's going on with my internet. My internet is bugging out. My internet is bugging out. So apologies to you guys. Really, really sorry about this.
No problem, Ola. Where it comes to this fight, I think I agree with the odds. If I look at Aaron Ogoni, there we go, Ogoni's record. So he's fought out of, I think, 3 different promotions in his 4 fights. He's fought out of OFU, Benin FC, and WSC, and now he's fighting the EFC. And we had a conversation earlier about how knowing the promotion you're about to fight for is very important because you know how they operate, what you can do, what you will get, and what will allow you to have the best fight. So for him to come in his first fight, yes, his record is 3-1, but if I look at where he's fought, his last fight that he won due to an illegal strike, which means he technically didn't win, and it was a year ago in September last year. I think those odds are pretty solid. I'm not too sure, and his one loss was to a doctor stoppage, and his first win was due to injury. So, I mean, if I look at his record, he hasn't really done anything. One by injury. His only real win was a rear naked choke. The other one was due to legal strike on him, so he won. And then his loss was a doctor stoppage. So his fights have been wishy-washy. So I agree 100% with the odds that are there, going up against a former champion in the form of Zico Makengele. But with that said, there's one last fight. Shannon Van Tondo versus Given Majuba. Now, Shannon Van Tondo, we haven't seen in a while. He was a contender at some point in the EFC Bantamweight division, and then he just kind of dropped off. Lots of injuries, pulled out fights, didn't make weight a few times. So Shannon's been not the most consistent fighter in terms of the EFC specifically, but he has recently been training out of Thailand and fighting in Thailand. So he's going to be coming through into this fight with a lot of skill that he's gotten internationally. Going up against Given Majuba, who's a perennial EFC fighter. I think these odds are fair enough where you're looking at international experience versus obviously a local fighter in the form of Given Majuba. So that's another fight I would look out for. I'm once again looking forward to seeing Shannon back in the Hex, back doing the work that he does, showing us, because he's a very, very skilled fighter. Shannon Van Tondo is a very, very skilled fighter. The only issue in his career, as far as I'm concerned at least, is the injuries and missing weight or getting sick before fights, which unfortunately we've not been able to see him complete or go up against Bad Musa Thwapa again since defeating him, and him and Musa were supposed to fight for the Bantamweight title, but then obviously he pulled out due to sickness or illness at that point. So yeah, those are the fights that I'm really looking forward to. We've obviously got, a lot of other fights on here, very exciting. We've got M16, he won by head kick before Tabatum Mulele. We've got Emmanuel Sita back in the Hex. He's gone and refigured himself out from what he said after his last loss. He's going up against Glody Kanzeko. We know Glody fighting out of Johannesburg. Absolutely love him. Super drip all the time. So this card, I'm really looking forward to the fights on this card. The fighters on this card are great. We've got Import Loka, who won his first fight at the last, I think it was EFC117. So yeah, this is a great card. Really looking forward to it. And are you going to be watching, Ola? Oh, Ola's
Yeah,
gone.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Like I said, my internet,
your internet is bugging tonight. No, we got it. No problem, bro. No problem. But I think for the most part, we managed to get your view of how you're seeing EFC117, the fights that you're excited about. And I think with that said, let's do our last kick in the head for the show, because I think let's let you go because right now the network's not helping you out. But tell us what else we're busy with this coming week. We've obviously got UFC 306 coming up on Saturday. We've got Dust Up Shakedown tomorrow. How's this week in MMA for you before we sign off?
I'm back.
I hope your network holds. Yes, you are. I hope your network holds for that one.
Hey guys, yes, like I said, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on
Oh,
tonight.
he's gone again.
The weather's turned bad over here in the UK, and usually when that happens to affect broadband, and so real apologies to you. But thank you very much for inviting me on the show, and another great card that we got to look forward to, man. Another great card we got to look forward to, bro.
Absolutely amazing. To everyone listening, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at HeadKickPod on all platforms. Find us on Instagram if you want to chat to us. We are on Twitter. We are pushing MMA Twitter. Jordan, Rambling Dad Podcast. Shout out to him. Leroy, going to be chatting to you tomorrow. And to everyone who is listening, do not forget to follow The Fight Week Show on Instagram. My man, Ola, as always, can we get one last kick him in the head before we end the show?
Kick him in the head!
Love it. Gotta kick him. That's right. Salute. Wait, don't end the stream yet. Wait. I still have this.